Well,
Thomas.
Yeah?
You're going to be in your element driving this.
Okay.
You'll come to the realization on your own accord.
Yeah.
But this is an absolute passport to victory.
Oh, okay.
Jump in that pilot seat. You're just going to have a moment of clarity. And here's a bit of insight for you. You fit in the back.
Okay.
Yeah. And even the design. Look at this ridge line going all the way down the side. It's perfect.
James, you're doing Honda puns.
Why are you so upset? Did you see your ex?
See my ex. CRX? Oh my God. Have you taken this too far? Have you taken it too far?
Yes. It's 2000.
You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And this is the new Honda Civic.
For 10 generations, the Civic has targeted a very niche audience, the human race. In other words, this is just the car that people buy, and now we're in the 11th generation. This time, it's more simple, more clean. At first glance, it's not trying to be futuristic, but it has fancy things, like a laser-brazed roof for seamless exterior lines. In fact, the whole architecture has been redesigned and updated.
A hatchback is coming later, but this sedan starts at $24,465 Canadian, with today's top trim touring spec crossing just over the $30,000 mark, landing it squarely amongst its nemesis. But is the Civic the one to get? Let's find out.
If you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing around. So subscribe and hit the bell.
Okay, in the new 2022 Civic. Now this is an important car to Honda, and as a result, they've thrown absolutely everything they can at it. It has a new interior, a new exterior, and we're going to talk about those in a minute. New wheels, new technology. They've even thrown a serious new engine at it.
And when James says new engine, it's the same.
Okay, yes, it is the same, but for the 1.5 turbo, they've actually made it more powerful and more fuel efficient this year. So it has 180 horsepower, 177 pound-feet of torque. Those aren't small numbers for a Civic that doesn't wear an SI badge.
And that's a power output that can actually be quite engaging, especially when paired with a manual transmission. Unfortunately, unlike the new hatchback that's coming, the sedan can only be had one way, with a continuously variable transmission.
And a CVT is good at some things, but it just makes sad noises, and it's not very exciting. However, you get to make this quite smooth. Coming up to a traffic light, there's no aggressive or even noticeable downshifts because it slows down smoothly. It's just not a very exciting gearbox. But then look at the Corolla. That has a CVT. Look at the Mazda 3. It's got an ancient 6-speed. So really it hasn't got to be that competitive in that part. But just for fun, because this is the Touring, they've given it shift paddles. And you can drop it into sport. It makes the CVT a bit more aggressive. Doesn't necessarily feel quick at all or sound any different. And, but we do get a very, very slight glow of red on the digital gauge cluster, which I can't actually really tell from here, and it's not even in direct sunlight. All right, so even the sport mode isn't that exciting. But this car isn't about excitement, is it? That's what the SI and the Type R are for. This is about comfort and ease.
And easy it is. Everything about this car is just intuitive. Whether it's the throttle calibration, the brake calibration, where it puts itself in the CVT gears, and especially the ride. There's nothing offensive about the way this car drives at all. It just kind of glides over everything. It's not a Rolls Royce, but you can easily have a conversation on the highway. Yeah, a Mazda 3 is a little bit quieter. It's got thicker windows, and maybe the ride is a little bit better, but for everyday livability, this wins because, well, the Mazda 3 has steering that's good on the track, for some reason, In the parking lots, it's too heavy. The steering in this is just light enough that it's easy to use and accurate enough that you're never going to complain about it. And a Corolla steering is even lighter than this. This hits the perfect happy medium. Is it fun to drive? It's not fun to drive. Honda say this is their most fun Civic yet. I'm not sure I totally agree with that. It's definitely good, but I actually think I prefer the steering of the previous generation. Not that this is bad. I will say that I am always interested to see what they do with the SI and the Type R version of a chassis, because Honda are masters of front-wheel drive. Some cars spin their wheels off the line all the time. This one does not do that, even though it has an open differential. Basically, everything about this car is smoothly, wonderfully calibrated. I have almost no complaints about driving it every day. This is a good car.
It did a great job.
It's exactly what a Civic should be.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's got all the things that one would want from a Civic.
Yeah, Civic is the main word I would use to describe it.
It's got a nice white paint as well with the flake.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the Civic colors.
Yeah.
You guys figured it out yet? Anyway, this is the Honda Civic.
We're being a bit cheeky.
That's an Accord. Anyway,
They look the same. They look the same.
we had to make the point. Speaking of people that look the same, objects.
Obviously, I'm bionic, so there's a massive difference there. But yes, we've worn the same clothes.
Why does this keep happening? Listen, I'm never going to call you in the morning and be like, "What are you wearing today?" I'm not going to do it.
I want that call.
Do you want it?
We obviously need that call. You couldn't have dressed more similarly to me, copied me,
No.
than if you tried.
No, I copied you as much as the Accord copied the Civic. So therefore not at all.
Honda say that the Civic manifests a timeless design.
Is the time 2018?
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this, because it's not a bad looking car.
No, it's good looking. It looks like an Accord. Everyone loves the look of the Accord.
Exactly.
The front, they've obviously done something slightly different with the front, including something I'm not a massive fan of, and it's something you can only see really in person.
Yeah.
But if you stand from certain angles coming off the front here,
Yeah.
the hood line
Doesn't line up.
gap. Yeah, there's a gap here.
It like dips.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
It looks a bit cheap, which is not fair, because Honda normally...
A really good quality control, from what I've seen anyway. Anyway, this car, I think, looks too big to be a Civic.
Interesting.
That's the issue that I have. It's not a bad looking vehicle.
It's not far off its competitor's size now. All cars are getting bigger. And there's going to be a hatch.
I still think that when it comes to good looking hatches, the Corolla wins.
Corolla's good looking.
Yeah.
The Mazda 3 is good
Mazda 3 is
looking.
very good looking.
But
A lot of
like-
competition.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough out there.
But those cars, while similarly sized, they look smaller. And they
Okay.
think they are smaller more or
But
less.
this drives small enough for me.
Yeah. It does drive small. I think it looks too big. It looks like an Accord. I wanted it to be. It's a compact. It's the Civic. It's supposed to be tiny.
However, there is something I heard on Reddit. It's a big website. And
You might have heard of it.
there's a subreddit called Our Cars.
Yeah.
And there was a thread on there that's very interesting. A bunch of very smart people over there. The fact that this design is muted, because people are quite upset that it looks very plain, quite soft.
Yeah.
The fact that that's the case means that the Civic Type R, which currently is argued to be a very busy design,
Yeah.
to put it lightly,
Yeah,
it could mean that the new Type R will look great.
It could look good. Yeah, hatch form with some Type R aero. I think that this is honestly potentially the best looking Type R we've seen in a while, assuming they do it right. I'm
Yes,
excited to see it.
yes.
Anyway,
Most of the changes are on the inside for this car.
let's go look.
Yeah.
Okay. You have words about this interior.
So no.
You do. You've been complaining since you saw the pictures.
So my complaint
Yep.
is only that I don't think it's future-proof. I like it. It's function over form.
But I think they intentionally didn't do futuristic.
Yeah, the highest compliment I can pay this car's interior is there's no learning curve at all. You jump in and you immediately know how to use everything.
Yes, like climate control. Actually, one of the simplest climate control things I've seen in a while.
Yes.
Obviously, right? You've got the temperature controls. You've got the fan. You've got the modes. You've got the AC button. You've got the heated seat buttons. How hard is this? Like, how hard is this? I want this climate control in every car ever.
Yeah, it's not difficult.
Right?
We've got these things laid out.
Gear selector. Boom. Into drive. Done.
Drive mode, A off.
Infotainment that works with the volume knob.
Heated seat button right on the steering wheel.
Yep.
Done. So that's the functionality part of it.
Yep.
In terms of design,
Yeah.
I like the honeycomb.
I think it's really cool.
I think it's cool.
It's retro.
It's retro, but maybe too retro. I don't know. I think in a few years, people are going to wonder, I mean, like Mazda did a great job. The Mazda 3 is very visually not noisy.
But it is not as easy to use as this.
Correct.
Also, it's way more cramped inside, front and back.
Yes, it is.
Massively different, yeah.
I sit in the back of this absolutely fine. Your brother, who's 6'5",
6, I think.
6'6",
Yep.
just about fits.
Yep.
He doesn't fit in the Mazda 3. He
Right.
fit a bit more comfortable in the Accord. Those extra few inches,
Yes.
they work. But yeah, I mean, there's some fun stuff going on in here that's new. We have the first ever in a Civic full digital LCD screen.
Yeah, it's fine. I think it works.
It works really well.
It's got all the information on the side and in the middle of the gauge clusters. They're easy to read, speed in the center.
It's even got a fun little graphic that shows you what you're doing on the car.
Oh, really?
Right?
I didn't even notice that when I was
That
driving
shouldn't
it.
be as fun as it is.
That's super cool. Like,
Yeah.
Putting the brake lights on, brake lights, turn signal, brake lights.
It's also got this cool
Honk,
graphic.
beep, punch. So,
If you beep, no, I don't want to beep. I'm going to scare Karston.
yeah.
If you use the lane centering assist,
Yes.
it does a cool graphic as well.
Yeah.
And I've actually gotten really well with that lane centering assist.
It's a very important
It's
thing
not
to have these
it's not
days.
absolutely perfect. Doesn't keep you completely in the middle, but it's better than.
Also, in terms of like the touch points, I hate that phrase. I feel like I'm like writing an article for a newspaper.
Where on the car did it touch you?
Yeah, no, that's not what I meant, but that's where you went. So, I was just gonna say, there's no piano black down here.
No, well, they did that
Right.
on purpose. They've purposefully tried to remove as many places where you can leave fingerprints. They did a slab of piano black there just to show that they can do it.
Yeah, just
this
to
is
remind you,
so-
like, just don't
Yeah.
even tempt us. We'll fill the whole car with it.
We've got the Bose sound system, which is an upgrade for the touring model. It's good. It's got a lot of power, but it's quite Bosey. There's mid-range.
It's mostly mid punch,
but
right?
really powerful. Like you can absolutely blow your ears off with it.
Okay.
Oh, and for the first time, we now have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto.
Wireless.
Wireless
Yes.
and wireless charging. So in theory,
Yeah.
it doesn't work because I've got a little magnet in my case. It blocks
Yeah.
it. In theory, you get in your car, you drop it down on the charging pad, it charges, and it auto connects.
Yeah, but that doesn't help with the fact that it's still annoying to connect wireless.
It has been a bit finicky.
Yeah.
I've never come across a wireless CarPlay system that's perfect. It's
This is the top trim, right?
top trim, touring.
I feel like I want cooled seats.
Interesting. I don't think you get them on this class of car.
Not usually, but
Not
like
usually.
if they had dropped them in.
Spoil me.
Yeah.
Just spoil me.
If they had dropped them in, I feel like that would have been a really nice point.
I think the chairs are really comfortable. I
Yeah.
drove 2 hours to get here today.
They are.
I love them.
I would say they might be the tiniest bit too narrow for my badonkadonk.
Big bump.
Anyway, the driving position is good. Headroom is good. Honestly, there's very few things to complain about in this car, which is exactly what it should be.
I have one weird pet peeve that
Okay.
doesn't make much sense.
Okay.
The gauge cluster is quite far back, and this is quite far forward.
You're just searching
So
for stuff.
I kind of
That's
do
what you
this like chicken, like whoa, just to look at you know. There's on the Mazda 3 and the Corolla, they're in a more similar plane.
Well, guys, the Civic is a complete failure because the infotainment and are not on the same plane.
the fact that is my only real complaint.
Like, you're
which is-
searching
it's-
for stuff,
and
is what you're
it's
doing.
barely a complaint.
Yeah.
shows you how correctly they did this.
Yeah, anyway, this is a great car. I think they absolutely nailed it as being a Civic. My only complaint really is just that it's a little bit too big. I kind of want it to be, I want the Accord to feel this big.
Cars are big now.
That's stupid.
You drive a little.
That's annoying.
You drive a little Alpha Spider.
That's
You're different.
It weighs like 42 pounds.
I feel safe. The size of it makes me feel safe.
Do you like to be high up when you drive?
To be high up when I drive. No, I don't, which is why I got a Civic
Yeah.
instead of a CRV.
Right.
And I get this every day of the week over a CRV.
Me too, 100%.
The new Civic, then, is most definitely a Civic. As mundane as that sounds, that does mean Honda accomplished their task. They've improved it in all the right places and ruined nothing. As for being the most fun to drive Civic ever, yeah, we can see that if it's your birthday and you've got your favorite song on the radio and a new shirt and you just paid off your loans. But more importantly, for the price, it's all you could ever need. Thanks for watching.
This is the type of car
The type of car.
where you really want to put your foot down.
Yeah.
That's going to be integral to the experience. It's a prelude to an odyssey.